recording this in a little like co-working. It's like a private little office spot, but it's like a co-working spot, right? And I'm actually surrounded by a bunch of glass walls. Like if you look right, you look left, they're like these frosted glass walls, and then behind me, or not behind me, but like directly in front of me, rather, is just it's a glass wall. I've tried putting up some privacy paper and it ended up falling down. Should leave a bad review on Amazon because yeah, I'll probably lasted like 10 fucking minutes. Anyhow, that's not the point. The point is that I'm looking out right now and I just see it's just glass, right? It's just a bunch of glass cubicles, almost like a fishbowl, funny enough. And directly across the hallway from me is a woman who's working, and she's actually facing me right now. She's facing me right now. You know, obviously she's working. I imagine she's doing. I don't know. Just imagine being on a call or trying to do your expense report or whatever the fuck you're doing. Just trying to concentrate, and you look directly across from you, and you see me wearing wearing this with these bright lights, fucking neon sign, doing this, and she's there's a chance she could even hear me to a degree. Like this isn't soundproof by any means. There's definitely some audio leaking through, and there's a chance that she could hear me talking about her, about this entire situation. Just imagine that situation, trying to have a serious conversation with your boss, your executive team's on the call, and you're trying to concentrate on what they're saying. You're trying not to keep glancing over. Uh, but here I am wearing a fucking rice hat with all this going on. So yeah, that's how my morning's going. How's your morning going, folks? Hopefully it's going pretty well. Sorry, I I don't usually drink coffee, and I had to wake up early this morning because I'm actually flying out to Europe this morning. I'm actually getting married in a couple weeks. So yeah, some of you guys are going to be clapping your hands. Congratulations. Some of you should be pouring out. Uh, some of you guys should be pouring out a shot for your homie over here who's about to. Well, technically, I'm already legally married, so I'm already fucked. But you know what I mean. Um, yeah, about to celebrate that whole my death essentially. Yeah, it should be fun. Going to Croatia in a well, I guess we're stopping in France first, but getting married in Croatia in about 6 hours. But I'm saying all this because I had to wake up early this morning. I wanted to get a podcast out just because I'm going to be gone for a few weeks and I won't be doing this. But I ended up going to Coffee Bean, and like I said, I don't drink coffee too often. And as someone who doesn't drink coffee too often, I was like, oh, I want something cold. I don't want something hot. And I saw a cold brew, and I was like, yeah, cold. That sounds great. So I ordered a cold brew, and it wasn't until I received my drink, and oddly enough, or ironically enough, not ironically, coincidentally, someone had ordered my drink had come out at the same time as someone else. Someone else had gotten just an iced coffee, and it was at that moment that I realized that I had ordered the drink that had a lot of caffeine. So I'm really jittery right now, and hopefully, as this podcast goes on, I will kind of ease into things. And to be totally transparent, I'm also just a little bit high right now too, and by a little bit, I mean a lot. These pens nowadays, so strong, so strong. We just come a long way since we used to buy it in the parking lots of like a Petco. You guys remember those days? You just decide to smoke weed one night with a bunch of your friends. You guys would all go on like an Easter egg hunt. Everyone would just hunt down everyone go through your contacts, find a degenerate that you know, Ask them if they know where we can find weed, and then you'd go on some really fun little Easter egg hunt, long journey to find weed. Maybe you'd buy a $50 worth of weed, which is like an eighth, and you'd meet some guy in a shanty parking lot, uh, at midnight, and he'd be, parked in the corner of the lot, to try to, I guess, avoid suspicion. But it's like, dude, we're meeting at midnight in a shopping plaza in the burbs. Like, everything closes at 10 p.m. There's no one in this parking lot. Pretty much anyone in this parking lot looks suspicious. So, I mean, that's just a little that's just a trip down memory lane for some of those young folks who might be watching this who don't know anything about what it used to be like to have to buy drugs like that. Hey, obviously, when you buy harder drugs, there's still that element, right? But yeah, just to buy weed, it's changed a lot. And now I think you can tell I'm a little high because I'm just a little bit all over the place. What are we talking? We're talking about marriage, folks. We're talking about marriage. I guess there's really no, there's really no, you know, this podcast isn't about anything in particular. We're just going, we're just filling up the calendar. We just need a, we just need a cadence for these podcasts to come out. Because, having an interview style podcast, it's super fun. I love it. I regardless of how this turns out, I will keep doing it just because I like having these types of conversations. It's really rewarding for me. But yeah, like booking some of these guests, especially early on, right? I mean, like, who the hell? I'm nobody. If I was famous, it would be super easy to book all these people. But I'm nobody. I'm just reaching out, trying to have these interesting conversations with folks. But it's a little far and few in between. So in between, we're gonna have to fill up the calendar with some of these solo podcasts, which we talk about a little bit of everything. Today we'll talk a little bit about marriage. We'll talk a little bit about Diddy. You know, I feel left out. I feel left out about this whole Diddy conversation. The whole thing is that I'm going to be talking about this thing, and it's going to be have to edit it. And it's like, oh god, it'll be a whole. You really got to be on top of these things. I really have appreciation for these content creators who's like, the second Drake gets accused of another some sort of pedo accusation, there's some fucking content out like 10 minutes later, a breakdown of every lyric. It's insane. It's insane how quick these creators come out with things, but I kind of get it. It's like their livelihood. So they're constantly planning for these things. It's crazy. It's a whole economy, you know? It's like I mean we'll talk about marriage in a little bit, but now I just can't stop thinking about Diddy, you know? It's like the second the second something like this comes out, it's just media coverage everywhere. We'll have to stitch it in, but there's like I searched for like Diddy timeline the other day just to get an understanding of obviously the timeline of events. Fucking do it yourself. It's like every big newspaper has some poor writer has to, some poor writer at like the Associated Press whose goal was to be some sort of Pulitzer Prize winning writer, has to gets tasked with some shitty thing like this. They're like, you know what? Uh all the stuff in Congo is really important. We really care. We really care about the Congo and what's happening over there and all the humanitarian stuff. But what we really need is to focus on Diddy. That's where That's where the clicks are. That's where the clicks are. That's what we want you to focus on. So we want you to write a timeline of Diddy, just like everyone else. Every writer at every company is going to have a writer that's going to be tasked with that small thing. Just look it up. Every big news publication has some sort of Diddy timeline. But that being said, it's crazy how it's crazy. It's like an economy, you know? It's like the second something like this comes out, everyone and their moms gets to write an article about it, gets to put a YouTube video. Think about how much ad revenue in total gets generated by some sort of headline like, you know, Diddy beats the brakes off of Cassie Ventura, you know? That video gets released and it's like, holy shit, you just put so much food on the table for so many families. It's almost hard to be mad at the guy, you know? And guys, we're joking. Guys, we're joking, right? This is obviously satire, you know? Like, do I need to remind you I'm wearing a fucking straw hat and sunglasses? And I'm literally maybe, I would say 15 to 20 feet from a woman who's seemingly working away without any, you know, any visible signs of distraction. It's actually really impressive. I would just, yeah, there's no way I would be able to concentrate if there was someone across from me doing what I'm doing right now. Um, I commend her. I couldn't do that. I could not do that. But yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? Isn't it, folks? How much food this guy's putting on the table, right? I mean, as this stuff slowly gets released, I mean, holy shit. I feel like there should be some sort of tracker for that. You know what I mean? Some sort of estimate of how much ad revenue your news story has brought. Or, how much money are you, uh, you know, how much money are you contributing to this economy? Ah, Diddy, thank you for putting food on all of these people's tables. The last thing we need are more homeless people. And I don't mean to have this conversation spiral into that. We could, we could, we won't. We could. We'll refrain for today. We'll refrain for today. But thank you. Thank you for, for all the news stories that are going to be coming out about Diddy. Oh, and it's going to be so great. Apparently, 50 Cent has sold the rights to a documentary on Diddy. I love this. I love 50 Cent's kind of character arc. You know, he's like Eminem's protege, comes up as a hard rapper, and then just kind of, yeah, he stops rapping. I don't know. Maybe he still raps out of nothing, no big hits, no offense, but big hits back in the day, right? And then stops rapping, and then he just slowly turns into this funny internet persona, like troll investor, but kind of bankrupt. I don't really know. It's like I've read stories about him being bankrupt, and then I've read stories about him like hiding cash in a wall. Like obviously he's still relevant. There's no way he's bankrupt, right? I mean, he just sold these rights to Netflix. So he ain't bankrupt anymore. That's for sure. I can't wait. I can't wait because people in that scene like they know things. They just know things, right? that the general public don't know about. It's like when you go to school or when you're like in a large friend group, right? There are just like rumors and secrets that you know that the general population doesn't know. And I always think about shit like this. Like growing up, like and I feel like a lot of kids probably experience this too. Like growing up, there was always like that one weird teacher, you know? There was always that one weird teacher that everyone kind of knew was weird. Everyone kind of had stories, or you had heard stories, and they were very believable. They could have totally been lies, but very believable. Very believable, right? And it's almost like common knowledge, right? Like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that teacher, yeah, yeah, yeah." Like everyone knows that, you know? But it's like obviously did the teachers were the teachers aware of this rumor, you know? Like did they know what was going? All I'm trying to say is that like sometimes within groups there's like a sense of intimacy, right? Or something. It's just rumors just get spread more easily, whatever it is, right? It's kind of weird. Like this whole Diddy thing comes out, and Shane Gillis, who some of you guys probably know, very famous, funny ass comedian. Uh, Apparently, like 5 years ago, he's on a podcast. We'll have to pull it up. Maybe insert podcast clip now. But like 5 years ago, he's talking to his other comedian friend, and he brings up the fact that oh fuck no, I'm getting things confused. Ah, I'm getting things confused. It wasn't that he knew about Diddy. It was that he knew about Drake. Oh, but it's the same point, right? Like Shane Gillis, he's famous now. I guess 5 years ago, I don't know how famous he was, but he talks about how Drake is going to get busted for this pedo stuff, right? And I don't know if Drake's a pet. It doesn't look good. I'll say that it does not look good. But I don't want to get sued for anything. It's too early to get canceled, so I'm not going to call him a pedo. I'm not going to call him a pedo, but it doesn't look good, right? He's been accused of being a pedo. Yeah, that's fair to say, right? He's been accused of being a pedophile. And yeah, Shane Gillis 5 years ago comes out on a podcast and talks about how eventually the public is going to come out for Drake, and it's just it's crazy that he would, I guess, predict that 5 years ago. But obviously, these rumors had to have been floating around for a while for him to know. And the thing is that 5 years ago, Shane Gillis, like I said, not as not the famous comedian that he is now. I mean, I'm sure he's obviously had some success. I think this was before his whole SNL thing, but the point being is that these rumors get right. These rumors get you know spread amongst the elite. Let's just say, right. So I guess what other dirt, what other dirty laundry is gonna get aired out? You know, Oh god, we're all over the place. But like I said, a little amped up on the coffee, a little high. I will say this though, it's just kind of funny how, all these people, Diddy gets what? Like all these accusations start coming out, what, late last year. I don't know, the police raid his house, whatever. I think people are starting to get deposed, maybe. I'm not sure. But all these celebrities that are like going to Diddy's parties, their their buttholes must be kind of puckering up because yeah, I don't know. I would not want to be associated with any of those parties right now after all of this comes out. But his name keeps coming up in the news. And regardless, I don't know. I don't know if he's a bad guy. I don't know anything about him. Ashton Kutcher's name just keeps coming up in the news for like so many random fucking things. Is this guy just a terrible judge of character? Is he a bad person? I don't fucking know, right? Like, it comes out, right? Like, Danny Masterson, right? The guy from the '70s show, the guy with the sunglasses, kind of Jufro. Can I say that? I like I like Jewish people. I could say that, right? I mean, I feel like anyone could say that. And anyway, he's got a Jufro, and he, you know, I think he's got to be in jail, right? Yeah, he got convicted, so he's in jail now for what was it? Rape. That's right. Yeah, apparently he was drugging people and raping chicks. Yeah, not good. And apparently Mila Kunis, who's married to Ashton Kutcher and was on the '70s show with Danny, and Ashton Kutcher, apparently, they come out and they write some sort of letter, right, talking about Danny's character of it. I think maybe this was before all of the all of the news came to light, right? I mean, obviously the accusations were out, but apparently before all the evidence came to light, I don't really know. I'm not here to defend them for sure. It's just, his name comes out then for obviously supporting a rapist. Not great, Probably want to keep a low profile after that. I don't know the timeline, but also also around also I feel like probably the past 6 months, a year, all that news about how Mila Kunis, when she first came on the '70s show, she's like underage, and Ashton Kutcher was like they had some sort of thing. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if they hooked up. I don't really know any of the details, but his name is just kind of being associated with, I guess you could call it, being a pedophile. I don't know. I mean, I don't really he's just a little bit older than her at that age, right? I don't really know. I don't really know any of the details. I don't know how young she was. I don't know how old he was. I don't know anything about that. I just know that at the time, yeah, I was reading a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's just you just don't want to be associated with that, right? Kissing underage girls, whatever. Even if she ends up being your wife, that's, still, you could call it statutory rape, depending on what happens, right? Either way, something you want to stick away from. And then he comes out and he's like, all this stuff with Diddy. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm close friends with Diddy, going to all these parties. Jesus, man. Uh, 3 strikes. It's pretty bad. And like I said, I don't know if he's actually even done anything, you know? Um, so I don't know whether to be suspicious of the guy or I don't even know. What is this podcast even fucking turning into? What is this podcast even turn into? Okay, you know what? Forget all that. Don't edit that out, but I don't know where I was going with that. Diddy. Jesus Christ, Diddy. Anyone who has, if you've been living under a complete rock, if you haven't seen this video, okay? Diddy apparently, right? He comes all these, or I think Cassie, who's his girlfriend. I don't know much of her music. Apparently, she's an R&B singer, something like that, right? His protege. I don't know. I don't even know what Diddy does nowadays. Maybe just manages a record label. He doesn't really rap anymore, right? I don't know. I'm sure his streams are up, but I don't know. He doesn't really rap anymore. Sean John's definitely irrelevant. I think completely out of business. Um, I'm sure Bad Boy Records is still around. I don't know who the fuck is signed on to Bad Boy Records. Is that even cool anymore? Maybe. Don't kill me, Diddy. But what? It comes out what she sues him or something like that late last year, right? All these accusations coming out about how he's made her do some weird ass freaky shit, right? Like having sex with prostitutes while he watches and records or something. It's some weird Epstein shit, you know? I don't really know. His whole case is very similar to this whole Epstein, it seems like. Something, sounds like he's having all these parties. People are probably doing all this crazy, scandalous shit. Maybe he's recording them. I don't even know. I don't know any of the facts. None of this could be true at all. Let's just speculate. We're just having a good time. He's kind of like the Black Epstein, you know? Uh, and instead of, you know, killing himself, they'll probably just convict him. You know what I mean? Because after all, they're just a bunch of celebrities. They're not, it's like if you have a bunch of celebrities and you have them blackmailed, that's obviously pretty bad. But like Epstein, you got like world leaders. You know what I mean? You have them fucking kids and you have that on video. Ugh, that's some, that's you definitely have a lot of power over those people. You know what I mean? And like, anyone who's following the Epstein case, didn't some guy give Epstein like a penthouse or some shit? Or like $100 million, something crazy. Those numbers could be totally off, but some ridiculous thing, right? And they're like, no one could explain it. They're just like, oh, you just gave Epstein a mansion? But why don't I have friends like that? Why don't I have friends like that? I mean, anyone who's watching this right now, I love you guys. You guys, you're probably just going to be my friends. I'm pretty much just talking to my friends. For all my friends, these are just for you guys right now, because the general public isn't really watching this, right? The general public isn't really watching this. Oh, what were we talking about? What were we talking? Diddy. Let's just get back to anyone who's seen the video, right? Just go watch it right now. Just pull it up. Like let's try to show them the clip if we can. Let's not get this video taken down for some sort of copyright. I don't know who would own this video. Maybe it's I don't know. I guess this is probably public. I don't know how this information gets leaked now. As far as I know, this happened late last year or something like that. It happened middle of last year. I think because I think this is what happened. This happens like middle of last year, right? He beats the crap out of Cassie Ventura, right? He just gets his Chris Brown on, right? He just watches a Chris Brown video, just starts getting in the mood, starts dancing, singing. And then he just starts beating his girlfriend, right? In the spirit of Chris Brown. And in this video, it's so interesting. I think the video starts off, Cassie's just like, she's in like a hoodie, just walking down the hallway in sunglasses or some shit. I don't even know. She's carrying a bag, just walking alone. She gets to an elevator. She's not running or anything, but she's, I guess it seems like she's in a rush. And anyway, it pans to she's at the elevator. Next scene is Diddy just running down. He's not running. He's like, he's running. He's not running full speed. He's not running full speed because he's in a fucking towel. Which okay. Anyway, he gets to the elevator and he throws her on the ground. And what's so interesting is that immediately she just kind of plays dead like possum. She's just she gets thrown on the ground, immediately not moving. And something about that just screams like, this has happened before, This has happened before. She's utilizing all of the knowledge and experience that she's accumulated and all the beatings she's probably gotten. And she's like, if you just play dead, uh, these people eventually just leave you alone, Just he'll get a couple kicks in. Just it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Just try not to react. Just close your eyes, try not to react, and it'll all be over soon. Just dissociate, just dissociate. And who knows, maybe in those 5-10 seconds while she got thrown up, like the second she got thrown to the ground, maybe she just dissociated and she was just uh watching herself just motionless getting kicked by Diddy. Who knows? Who knows? But what was also interesting is if you look at the footage, this happens at like 11 a.m. 11 a.m. during the day, you know? And I know what you guys are thinking. I know what you guys are thinking. It's just poor timing on his part. It Look, you should never violence is never good, folks. Everyone, violence is never good, especially domestic violence, right? International violence is a little bit, a little bit better, right? But domestic violence, very, very bad, very bad. And you know, I can't help but feel like if you are going to commit domestic violence in a hotel, it should not be between the hours of 11 to 4, right? It should not be between, it should definitely not be around check out and check in time, right? Everyone knows check in time for a hotel is right around 4 o'clock, right? Check in 3, 4 o'clock. It's usually 4 o'clock, but you always have to ask for fucking early check in because 4 o'clock's ridiculous. And everyone knows that check out time's usually around 11 a.m. You know, that's usually when people are leaving the hotel. So, it's probably not a good idea to commit domestic violence at the time. It's just high risk, it's a high risk. And I don't know if someone teaches a course on domestic violence. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they don't teach them how to commit domestic violence. Which, like I said, not for domestic violence, but maybe I've just discovered a market for that. Maybe that's a good business idea for someone. It's a bad business. It's a bad business. I don't think anyone should do it, but if you did, if you wanted to, I think you'd have how many providers are there out there? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't done the research, so who knows? Maybe there's someone who's already, maybe there's someone who's already pioneering the space, and I don't know. Maybe it's Andrew Tate. Maybe it was Andrew Tate. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's in jail. I don't know. I don't know, people. I don't know. But yeah. Just come on, Diddy. You've been doing this for a long time. You should know that 11 a.m. is a bad time to be beating your girlfriend in a hotel alley. Hotel room. Still not good, depending on how thin the walls are. Still not good. Don't advise it, but definitely not out in the hotel alley. But this is we're getting distracted. Long story short, he beats this woman. He beats this woman in April, right? This shit doesn't get released until now. It's May the next year. I mean, maybe it wasn't April of last year. It was like summer, spring, or something like that last year. Who knows? Long time ago. This happened a while back. It just now it gets released. So why does it get released now? Apparently, the allegations are Diddy had bought this videotape off the hotel staff for $50,000, which I know what you're thinking again. That is chump change. Chump change. To get to have dirt on someone like Diddy, like that, that's a it's not just like, "Hey Diddy, we have you on tape pulling out your cock." Yeah, that's also probably worth more than 50K. But you get what I'm saying, is that there are levels to this, you know? And beating your girlfriend, that's at least six figures, right? I think that's fair to say it's at least six figures, you know? The only reason I could see why they would not negotiate, I could see Diddy just being like, look, I'm going to offer you $50,000. And I think that's generous because I know people. I know people. And then he just starts playing like Tupac out of nowhere. And you're just like, why the fuck? Why is he threatening me and playing Tupac at the same time? And then you're just like, is he insinuating that he killed Tupac? And then you go, $50,000 doesn't sound so bad. Here's your tape, Mr. Diddy. And you go on your merry way. You go on your merry way. That's the only thing I can think of. Truly, that's the only thing I can think of. No other reason. Unless you're just dumb, which a lot of people are, you know? But I guess who's making the decisions on that, right? Who's making the decision like that? You gotta, I guess you go to security first, right? Or like, I guess, what do you do? Let's just walk through the steps. If I'm Diddy, and I just beat the living daylights out of my girlfriend, and I'm in a panic, probably, right? I'm probably not thinking straight. Probably not thinking straight because I'm like, oh, fuck, this is bad. This is bad, right? After the spirit of Chris Brown evaporates, after the spirit of Chris Brown leaves your body, and you're like, holy shit, I just beat I just beat the brakes off my fucking girlfriend in a hotel room in a bathrobe. Oh my god, why was I wearing a bathrobe? I know I knew I should have wore pajamas last night. God, why 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 do I like to sleep in the nude? Ah, god. Okay, that woman left. I think she had enough of me. She was probably super distracted, and she's probably like, "Yeah, I can't take these conference calls." She's gone. Anyhow, getting back to it, Diddy's probably like, "Oh fuck, I fucked up. I fucked up. This is gonna be bad." Calls his PR firm, right? They're like, "Oh god, again? We're gonna want a raise. Um, we're gonna want a big raise, Diddy. Again." Okay, so they're like scrambling to figure out how to fix this. And meanwhile, Diddy's like, all right, what do I do? What do I do? And they're like, first things first, you need to get that tape. So they're like, okay, I don't know. Hopefully the PR firm is the PR firm, or maybe his agent. Does he have an agent at this point? Does he who does he go to for consultation, I guess, at this point? You know? It's just gotta be. Is it the yeah? I guess who he's like. Oh fuck! I just fucking beat someone. I need someone to kind of like fix this. Does he make the decisions, or is he like, I got like, uh, I'm sure he has like henchmen and things like that. But does he have anyone intelligent enough that he can rely on to just like, you know? Does he have like, God, what was that one show with like Liev Schreiber where he's like a dude that just cleans up everyone's fucking messes. I'm sure everyone has a guy like that, you know? Anyway, that person's probably like, all right, well, we got to call we got to call security first, right? We got to call security first and let's see if we can just buy security off first before they even bring it to management, right? Because if management knows now, then it's like, oh gosh, now we got the smarter people involved. And now I feel like those people are more likely to be like, look, this is worth way more than 50 grand. Personally, and not to hate on security people, I could see some dumb security guy being like, 50 grand, that's a lot of money. Ends up taking it, then off you go, and you're lucky if you're Diddy, if that's the case. Once it comes to like hotel management, and like, look, it depends on the hotel, right? If we're talking about a fucking Holiday Inn, hotel management, not a lot of faith in them to make an informed, the smart decision in that situation. But we're talking about the Intercontinental in Los Angeles, which, I mean, it doesn't have the cachet of, the Ritz or anything like that, or the Four Seasons. But, it's a nice, it's a fancy hotel out in Los Angeles. I imagine hotel management there to have, you know, to be somewhere in the middle of that bell curve, right? I feel like it's just someone of average intelligence should be like, 50 grand is not a lot of money. We could fetch quite a bit more, you know? Quite a bit more for that. Who knows? Maybe the person who was, in charge of negotiating with Diddy, maybe they looked at Sean John's website, which actually I remember is down. Maybe they looked at Sean John's website and they were like, fuck, maybe all we can ask for is $50,000. Maybe is this guy even going to be able to pay his bill? Ugh. Yeah, we don't want to shake this guy down. He hasn't even left yet. Who knows? Who knows? You know? Who knows? But this should be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds. It'll be interesting to see all the other people that get pulled into this whole thing. I will also say it is very, I don't want to talk about Israel, Palestine, or anything like that, but it is always interesting to see like how big news stories like just take headlines from it's like one big news headlines to the next, to the next, to the next. I feel like it's maybe I don't know. To be honest, I don't watch the news that much. I see clips of it, but it's not like I'm watching like an entire hour of the news. But it just seems like there's a news segment that dominates the headlines one at a time. You know what I mean? Now it's like Diddy. A few weeks ago, Israel Palestine. And it's kind of funny how like it moves from one to the next, but I could just see, I could just see people putting pressure on Biden to be like, look, we want you to stop supporting Israel and whatever, right? And then Biden just being like, let's start taking the heat off of me. Let's start releasing some other juicy press just to distract the people. It's kind of like that Dave Chappelle uh bit where he talks about what did he talk about? He talks about was it Dave Chappelle or was it Chris Rock? Can't remember, but it's talking about how like, I think it's like some sort of bad news coverage, right? Like maybe the president's going through some bad news coverage and they're asking Michael Jackson to touch another kid, right? Michael, we're going to need you to Michael Jackson, we're going to need you to touch another kid just to distract the public. Just to release some pressure from us. And it's just funny, I don't want to talk about it too much, but it's just funny that what's next? What will be the next headline after Diddy? It's like it's really true. Like anytime there's probably some crazy laws that are being passed right now. Whenever there's some crazy you know, celebrity news coverage dominating the news, I always just get suspicious that there's a bunch of laws that are being passed through Congress that we're just not hearing about. It's like, oh, this huge bill's being, I don't know. I don't know much about it. I don't want to speculate, but who knows? Probably. There's probably some really important shit going on right now that should be covered in the news, but instead we get Diddy, which, it's a nice relief. It is a nice relief. I mean, ugh, look, it's not that I'm enjoying watching Diddy beat the shit out of Cassie. It's not that at all. It's just, all the news coverage about Israel, Palestine are just like, oh, just any news coverage nowadays. It's just so exhausting, you know? It's just like, oh, the world's gonna end. It's like, fuck. Jesus Christ. In every which way, right? It's always just bad news. It's all bad news just to get us riled up. When was the last time we had like just good, happy news? Right? It just, I mean, everyone fucking knows, right? Just happy news just doesn't get clicks. Happy news doesn't get views. It's just sad. We just need a happy news channel. That's what we need. We need more happy. Happy, happy, happy. Okay, what's next? What's next? Can't be doing this all day. Can't be doing this all day. Yeah, so folks, I'm getting married. Actually, like I said, I'm already paper married, so this is just the funeral, if you will. But yeah, it should be fun. Super excited to have all of my friends, some of my family over there. Will be nice to get away from all of this. Just be with loved ones, It should be fun. Uh I just feel like I don't know. I don't know. I just can't help but feel like I'm just gonna get yelled at for something, and that I I love my wife. She's the best. She's the best. I just can't help but feel I will, and this will be my fault for sure. I can't help but feel I will do something wrong and I will get yelled for, which will probably be fair, but I also feel like I should be immune from anything this week. You know, like over like anything over the next week up until the actual day. I just feel like anything I do should just be like, it's fine. It's fine. It's just like, don't murder, don't cheat, and you're fine, and you're fine. I feel like I should just be left off the hook for everything. But yeah, super excited to go out. Should be fun. Uh I'd love oh man, I should have done this earlier. But let's just see. Let's just see what kind of marriage advice tips the internet has for folks, right? Because I am, after all, in for I'm in this for the rest of my life, I guess, right? That's the point. That's what this is. That's what this is. This is forever. Till death do us part, right? So let's just see. Let's just see. Look, there's a Reddit thread here, right? Let's see. Let's see what people have to say as far as marriage wedding advice goes. I'm going to take this off because I feel like that lady's back, and honestly, I kind of feel bad that I'm distracting her, and honestly, that heat is getting trapped in that hat too. Um, but let's see, folks. All right, let's see this one. Ask Reddit, what was the best marriage relationship advice you have ever received? The top comment. This is from 7 years ago, so maybe things have changed. Maybe things have changed, but it's pretty recent. Pretty recent. Not too much has changed over the past 7 years. I say that Yeah, actually, I don't know. I don't. A lot has changed over the past 7 years, but relationship-wise, things should be for the most part the same. The only difference has what really been OnlyFans, which doesn't really affect a relationship, but they're yeah, that is actually really interesting. It's like because how do people feel about this? Like, I have a friend who is in a relationship, and he pays for an OnlyFans account, right? And I think his partner knows, right? And that's kind of weird in my eyes. I'm not judging. I'm not judging, and you might know who you are. But it's just I'm curious to know how everyone else feels about that, right? Like, it's like, whoa. Okay, so a lot of people, like, I get it. They're like, oh, I just want like a digital girlfriend. I just want this feeling of a digital girlfriend, right? A bunch of incels. You're paying some girlfriend. You know, she's paying some kid in Bangladesh to pretend to be her. This kid in Bangladesh messages you every 6 hours, goes, "Hi, sweetie," sends you some, picture uh, that was taken like a few weeks ago, right? It's from some sort of catalog. And yeah, these incels or whoever they are. Obviously, my friend's not incel. He has a partner, but when I say partner, you might think he's gay or something like that. Which we could get into as well. That we'll save that for another time. But he has a girlfriend, right? So it's just interesting that yeah, it's just so interesting, right? He has a girlfriend. He's paying someone, right? I mean, how would you how would I feel about it? I would be really weirded out, you know? I wouldn't feel good about it. I don't think. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. I just can't even imagine it. But yeah, like I get why some people do it, right? Obviously, it's a huge business. A lot of people do it. Uh wait, why I don't even remember why we're fucking talking about this anymore, guys. I don't remember why we're talking about this. I will say one of the hard things about doing this whole solo podcast thing is that you're just rambling. You're just rambling for I don't even know how long has it been? What, 54 minutes? That's pretty good of just nonstop action, right? Action packed. So, I don't know. I don't know, folks. It is a weird thing. Marriage advice. That's what we were talking about. Marriage advice. Okay. Um Let's see. Top comment. 2.3 thousand likes. Okay. This comment was deleted for whatever reason, or that user was deleted. I'm not sure. It says, I'm one of those people that absolutely suck at knowing what to say when I'm trying to comfort someone, and I'll always wind up saying something that just makes it worse. You're telling me. Continuing. I think the best relationship advice I have ever received is that you don't always have to verbally comfort them, and you can still let them know you care by just being there, holding their hand, or just sitting with them while they're sad. This has saved me from saying the wrong thing so many times. That's great advice. That's great advice. Yeah, I think I mean, I've definitely, there's been times definitely in my life where yes, you just don't know what to say, you know? Like, sometimes people are just going through some really tough shit, and you're just like, "Wow, I really wanna be there for you, but it's awkward, and I don't know what to say, uh, but I wanna let you know that I'm there for you, but I don't wanna bring it up, right? Because I don't wanna remind you, but you can just go back and forth, so maybe you just don't say anything at all, you know? And that's the wrong thing because the other person will just think like, "Oh, this person doesn't care," right? That's not it at all. It's yeah, it's just weird, but that's true. I wonder if yeah, that's great advice. You know, like I guess when I think about when I'm thinking of this, I'm just thinking about like, oh, when people are like going through loss or something like that, right? Sometimes you just don't know what to say, and this is obviously marriage relationship advice, but this is just the first thing that comes to mind because I've never really been in a situation with my now wife where I didn't know what to say. I'm sure I just said the wrong thing. You know what I mean? There was never a point where I was like, "Oh, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say." I was just like, "Oh, I know what to say, and I'll just say something you don't want to hear." Um, yes, but yeah, that's a good advice. Maybe I should just shut the fuck up, which, yeah, I will start doing, just not on this podcast. Um, okay, that's great. That's great advice. People should implement that. Whoever's listening to this. Okay, second. Oh, okay. Actually, that was not the top comment. That was just for whatever I sorted this by best. But when I think best, I think of top voted. You know what I mean? Like most likes. But apparently, that's not how that's not how this is sorted. That's not what best means on Reddit. Apparently. Okay, this person says, not me, but my mom. When she and my dad were on their second separation, she was out with her best friend and was venting about all the problems in the marriage and all the things she wanted him to change. Oh, God, I know where this is going. Her friend asked her, "What are you willing to change about yourself?" Oh, maybe I don't know where this is going. It made my mother think about made my mother think about how she negatively affected the marriage too, and realized that if she wanted him to change things about himself, she needed to be willing to change things about herself and meet him halfway. They've been back together for over 25 years and have been going strong. That's great advice too. That's great advice. Wow, we all need more friends like that, right? I mean, obviously, we need friends that are obviously always just going to be on your side, right? But being on your side all the time doesn't necessarily mean telling you what you always want to hear, you know? Like being a good friend means telling them stuff that you're looking out for these people. You love them, right? Some That's what like interventions are for. It's like no one, it's like, look, we know you're having a great time doing all these drugs, but this isn't fun for us to have to all get together and fucking say like, "Oh, Steve, we need to talk to you. We need to talk to you. We've been really worried about all of your drug use, and we really want you. We really wanted to sit you down and tell you how we feel." No one wants to do that. That's not fun for anyone. But you do that because you love these people. This person who did this for this person's mom, that's a great friend. We all need people who just fucking tell it to us straight, Just like I tell it to you straight. Whoever's watching this, tell you. All right, next comment. Oh, dude, these comments just is as I scroll down, the likes just go up. So I really don't know how Reddit's sorting functionality. This doesn't. I mean, I guess the best and top. I guess I don't know what the fucking difference is. I don't know. But you guys can understand my confusion, right? That kind of doesn't make sense. Okay, here we are, further down, and the likes just more and more. This one has almost 12,000 likes. Okay. Do the small things. Can I show you? Okay. Do the small things. Quote unquote. Can I show you this thing I made? Want to walk the dog with me quickly? Just small stuff like that. I read somewhere that your willingness to do those things can determine a lot of your marriage. Sometimes I definitely don't want to get off the couch and help my wife with something, but I know she really appreciates it when I do. It helps her feel loved and appreciates in ways that you just can't when it's only the big things. Big things build the structure, little things fill in the gaps. That's great. I couldn't agree more. Uh yeah, small things really do help, At least as I mean, obviously I can only speak for myself, but it's like when you do the small things like it's like right, when I see my wife doing something, I will say she's definitely been carrying
a lot of the weight when it comes to this whole wedding thing. But I think that's fair. This whole thing, yes, it's our wedding. I love you. I love you. Because I know eventually you'll be watching this, babe. But this is her dream, and I will totally pay for it and help you make some long decisions. But ultimately, this is her dream. I'm letting her carry some of the weight. So kill me. So sue me. Whatever. Roast me. Whatever. Whatever. I bought a ring. I'm paying for half the wedding. Okay, this whole thing's a fucking racket. I will do a whole nother podcast on how this whole industry is a racket, but I'll save that for another time. So yeah, couldn't agree more. When my wife does some of the chores, I definitely like to help out. It makes I want her to feel like I'm, she's got a teammate. She's not in this alone. So all these small things, filling in gaps, y'all should do. All right, what's the next great comment? Quote unquote, the grass is greener where you water it. That is true. That always stuck with me. Your relationship is what you make it. If you don't put effort or love into it, it will die. Yes. Couldn't agree more. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't want to necessarily get into it right now, but yes. Effort. Yeah. I mean, you gotta keep that flame going. You know what I mean? Lots of people get divorced. People fall out of marriage, fall out of love. They fall out of love. So, things take effort. You gotta, you know what I mean? It's like imagine if you got married, right? I'm talking to dudes here. I'm talking to. Imagine you get married, and I'll do one for. Imagine you get married to some guy, and then all of a sudden he decides he doesn't want to work anymore and decides he wants to be a stay-at-home dad, right? Probably not what most of you guys want to hear, although I'm sure some of you all would be like, yeah, stay-at-home dads, we totally support it. Even though I think you're lying. But yeah, that would probably be a big change, and I think it'd be fair to say, I think it'd be fair if you lost some attraction to someone like that, or was just, yeah, I won't sugarcoat it. I think so. I think it'd be fair to be like, yeah, you are not the provider that I thought you would be, and you are not the leader that I was hoping you'd be. And I think it'd be fair for some of you guys to be like, yeah, thank you, next, right? And conversely, I think men who are much more, obviously, you should marry someone for who they are. You should be with someone for who they are. But let's just be real. Women typically choose men, and they typically prioritize things like safety and security, and with that comes things like resources, how much money you make, status, things like that. Those are things they typically care about, as well as obviously personality and looks and things like that. And but it's just the truth is, across the board, women tend to prioritize these things. That's what I think. And men typically tend to prioritize things like looks and things like that. And, we care less about what type of jobs you have. Obviously, these are generalities, but you get what I mean. But imagine you get married and your wife, just like, yeah, you married someone, she just lets go of herself. She stops caring, she's changed her personality, whatever it is, you know what I mean? she stops putting effort into the relationship. Ultimately, that's what I'm trying to say. You start putting effort into the relationship, things change. You can fall out of love pretty quickly. I didn't really need to get into the whole losing your job and gaining weight, but you know, you get what I'm trying to say. Just trying to prove a point. And quite frankly, I think if that did happen, I think you'd be like, "What the fuck, man?" Uh, yeah, I think that'd be kind of fair. Not to fat shame anyone, you know what I mean? But if you get married and this person all of a sudden's like, I just stopped working out and I stopped, caring about what I eat because I'm married now, you'd be like, well, mm, I still love you, babe, but what the fuck, you know? So great. That's great advice. We're gonna keep rolling. We're gonna keep doing this for like 10 more minutes. Keep doing this for like 10 more minutes. J- Just so you know, just so don't want you guys to miss out on anything. Okay. Next comment. Communicate. Any issue that crops up, we will tell each other, even if it's small or silly. That way, nothing builds up over time. From the very first time we met online, we decided to be bluntly honest. I was going to say brutally, bluntly honest with each other, and it's been absolutely awesome. Yeah, don't let things fester. You know, uh, that obviously leads to resentment, and you know, that's never good. Learning to communicate has been a bitch for me, but yeah, we've come a long way. We've come a long way. Thanks, mom and dad. Thanks, mom and dad, for really teaching me the ways early on. Anyhow, I love my parents. Love my parents. But yes, communication. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you know, everyone learns to communicate better once they're in a relationship. I feel like, right? You just have to. You just never really have to work on it when you're alone. That's what's nice. You know, that's what is nice about being alone. You just never have to change, you know? You're just you just are who you are. And that's great. I love when people just hide behind that though, right? They're like, "I don't want to be with someone because I don't want to change. I just love who I am." I don't want to change for anyone. I just want to be me. Yeah, I get that. Dealing with someone sometimes sucks for sure, but I think you're just saying you don't want to be with anyone really because sometimes no one wants to be with those people. Well, that sounds really fucked up, but that's just the truth. Sometimes, sometimes that's the truth. Sometimes people convince themselves that, like, yeah, you know what? Marriage was never for me. Marriage was never for me. I never really believed in marriage. Marriage is a construct, you know? And trust me, marriage is total bullshit. I mean, I love it. I mean, the weddings in this whole industry, like I said, complete racket, complete bullshit. Uh, Marriage, I don't think. Marriage is cool, I guess. I mean, I'm doing it, right? So maybe I'm just convincing myself it's cool. Either way, I mean, it's already been paid for. So we're fucking doing it. I'm Asian, so we're not letting this go to waste. So at this point, I guess we're fucking getting married. All right. Next one. And I really can't get over how this sorting option works. It's like it goes up, it goes down. It's fucking Jesus Christ. All right. Next one. Don't do anything that will make the other person's day more difficult. Simple, but still the best advice I've ever received. Miss you, Gramps. That's great advice. That is great advice. Yeah, it's really important to pass on those little nuggets of knowledge down to the younger generation, you know? Think about all the great knowledge you've accumulated over the years. It's really nice sharing that with like your nieces, nephews, eventually your kids too, right? You can come up with your own great sayings. Anyway, oh, yes, don't do anything that will make the other person's day more difficult. Yeah, that's true, you know? You're yeah, remember like the good old days? Yeah, that's great advice, you know? I feel like that's something like in the spirit of I feel like that's something that's well, like, anyone can use that, right? Anyone could that's great advice for anyone. Great advice for anyone. I just now that I'm thinking about it, I just can't help but now I'm just saying and now I just see like an abuser, some sort of like someone in domestic violence, like it's like Diddy just saying that to Cassie, you know? Like Diddy comes home, he comes home from a long day at the bad boy office, right? And he gets home and it's been a long day, you know, it's been a long day. Uh, no one's signing to the record label anymore. Sean John is gone, you know? His best years are behind him, right? He's come home from a day at the office. Maybe he doesn't even have an office anymore. You know, maybe he has like a home office because he can't afford an office anymore. You know? Who knows? Comes back, right? Comes to see her like late in the evening, had a tough day, right? He's just like, she he comes in and she's like, you know, these goddamn interior decorators fucked up these drapes again. Gotta fire these assholes, you know? And she's like, you need to help me find a new interior decorator. These Italians, they're just so slow to respond. I mean, they could have been anyone, just saying Italians. Even though I have been to Italy, the service hasn't been impeccable. But, you know, and he's just like, Cassie, Cassie. Just don't do anything that will make my day more difficult, you know? And in my head, he just starts beating the ever living shit out of her, you know? Don't make my day any worse, Cassie. You know, actually, I think it might just end with that. They came like kind of full circle. So yeah, I think we'll end with that. Wish me luck, folks. Next time you see me, I'll probably well, I'm already married, but I'll be officially married. I don't really know. I guess I'll be wearing a ring on my finger officially. So for all those folks who have, I guess, finished this, thank you. I will be doing more solo podcasts, like I said, to fill in the gaps as these people slowly book up my calendar. I mean, I gotta keep chasing these people. A lot of people say they're interested, and I gotta keep chasing these people. But luckily, I'm a persistent son of a bitch. Anyway, folks, it's great. It's great. It's been great rambling. I will talk to you soon. Have a great rest of the day. Take care.